Yeah, a lot of people got mad at this guy. People have, I'm gonna be honest, I really like him. I do. I like John Fetterman. Fuck him? No, I do. I like him.
I'll never forget. It was June in 2016, and I was a surrogate for Clinton, and Trump announced, "Hey, I'm showing up in a town called Menneson, which is a small steel town in the valley down from ours." And I'm like, why is he showing up in? I mean, that's not. So either he's crazy or they've plugged into something. They figured out that they have to connect. And to make that kind of an argument, to go to these kind of places, and it did. It resonated.
Yeah. That was Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman on the Joe Rogan podcast shortly before the 2024 election, discussing why he thought Donald Trump was able to win his state in 2016. In 2 years in the Senate, Fetterman has shown an independent streak. And more recently, he's been willing to meet in person with Trump's top cabinet picks, including embattled Defense Secretary.
Yeah, people think this guy like betrayed them because now he's trying to work with the president.
Nominee Pete Hegseth, and as we are first to report here this morning, he's also met with FBI pick Kash Patel. I met up with Senator Fetterman to discuss how he views his role.
I think it's funny. I'm sorry. I think it's fucking funny that he does not give a fuck. Worst dressed sinner? Yes. Oh God. Average WoW player, is it?
Donald Trump returns to Washington.
Yeah.
So are you going to be Donald Trump's favorite Democrat in the Senate?
Oh God.
I don't know what that really means, because you never know. But what I am is I'm just a regular Democrat. I'm not leaving my party, but I'm not sure why some of the things that I've chosen to do, like meeting with nominees and having views that might be more aligned with some of the Republican side, I think that's part of politics, and that's pretty much consistent with just doing the job and representing the kind of state that we have in Pennsylvania.
I think he's right. Yeah, I do. I think he's totally right. Audio's low, is it? I'll turn it up a little bit. Yeah, it's a common sense guy. Yeah, this is why I like them.
Looking forward, what are you most optimistic about with a Trump presidency, and what do you fear?
Well,
I think it's a lot of people on the internet and in the media that are constantly trying to make everything seem like it's an all or nothing, life or death situation constantly, that are like so like radicalized that they view even being reasonable and working with somebody else to be a traitor. I think that's what happens.
It's like I've been warning people, like, you got to chill out, like the constant,
yeah. He's right.
Freak out. It's not helpful.
It's not. He's totally fucking right.
So, pack a lunch, pace yourself, because he hasn't even taken office yet.
Do you think he has the potential to be a successful and a good president?
No.
I hope, because I'm not rooting
surprise.
Against him. If you're rooting against the president, you are rooting against the nation.
Fucking exactly. Exactly. Am I the only person that, like, I wasn't a huge fan of Biden, but I supported him and I hoped everything went well? Like, even now, I support that. Like, what are we talking about? It's so weird. So Biden too? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You weren't. I don't know.
I'm not ever going to be where I want a president to fail.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
Country first. I know it's become maybe like a cliche, but it happens to be true.
He's right.
What was the single biggest factor behind Kamala Harris and Democrats losing in November?
You have a singular political talent. Mm-hmm. It's undeniable.
Trump.
He had the energy and almost a sense of fearlessness to just say all those kinds of things. And people, it's undeniable that it has an energy.
It's so laggy. I'm like trying to pause it. Doesn't work. Yeah, no, I think he's totally right. Yeah, that people like Trump because he's telling them what they believe. Absolutely. Yeah, like Trump has positions, like, for example, like mass deportations. I think that's an opinion that a lot of people actually have. But a lot of people don't want to say that because of the optics around it. But the truth is that, yeah, actually people do feel that way. It is? They polled it? Yeah.
Entertaining aspect for that too. And just, if you're not afraid to say all of those things, and after you survived an assassination, you literally were shot in your head, and had the presence of mind to respond, fight, fight, fight. I mean, that's a political talent. It's undeniable. And also, I never believed that it was...
Well, it's more than that. Before he did the fight, 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 do you know what he did? He fixed his hair. Yeah, that's what happens when you've been in media for 50 years. Yeah, no, you can watch. He went and he fixed his fucking hair. He knows what he's doing.
About fascism.
Absolutely.
And for me, that made it difficult for...
Kamala Harris said that he was a fascist.
Yeah, well, it's like, that's her prerogative. I mean, but it's not a word that I would use, because you put a lot of Democrats, especially in my state, that I know, and I happen to love people that are going to vote for Trump, and they are not fascist. And also fascism, that's not a word that regular people, use. That, I think people are going to decide
totally right.
who is
absolutely. Like, the amount of, like, emotional escalation that people use with language, like calling people fascists or Nazis or, like, murderers or anything like that, there is a huge, tremendous amount of just fatigue from that. Of just fatigue from these, like, constant fucking, like, call to action, red alert, oh my God, this shit is going to happen. It's going to be so bad. And then it happens. It's not that bad. It's just tiresome. They're devalued words like commies. Yeah, like commies is another one. Yeah. Anytime somebody wants to have a social program, they're a communist. It's exhausting to deal with. It's overly dramatic and people just lose interest. I think that absolutely has happened.
Candidate that's going to protect and project, my version of the American way of life. And that's what happened.
I talked to a lot of Democrats before the election who were saying, we're going to win, Harris is going to win in Pennsylvania. But you saw this coming.
If you live in Pennsylvania and you spend time...
The reason why this guy knew about it is because this guy is like a very much like salt of the earth, like union, average working man kind of guy. So, and this is what he ran on a lot. And like, he was the average everyday guy. Right? No, he ain't. Well, he's more like, if you think he's not grounded, that's fine. But he's more grounded than the other ones. That's the point. And so if you live in Pennsylvania, yeah, right. He actually speaks his mind. Yeah. And so, of course, he's going to see this from like a more realistic lens.
Red County, Pennsylvania, as much as I did, the support's astonishing. I mean, I was driving home from Indiana County at 9 o'clock. And there was a Trump superstore on the side of a road, 9 o'clock on Friday night, and people are buying swag. And then that really crystallized.
They're buying Trump merch?
At the assassination.
So there you go.
And that was in Butler County, Western Pennsylvania, fairly close to where I live. And the day or two later, you start seeing people wearing shirts with that iconic picture.
Yeah.
And, the energy and the anger. And it's like, wow, I really thought, in fact, I thought that might be ball game. And then the second thing really, and that's when Musk and I, we're in the business, surrogacy is part of it. And sometimes it really has much of an impact, but I knew that was going to be a special one. And
the endorsement by Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, an endorsement.
I don't think it was really the endorsement. Actually, I think what really happened is that Elon Musk buying Twitter and then allowing people to see that their opinions actually weren't these fringe far-right opinions, and they were the opinions of, in fact, the majority. Like, for example, with immigration. I think that that's actually what moved the needle a lot more than the actual endorsement itself. I don't think that many people act on an endorsement, but in some cases, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah, the free speech is what really made it happen. Because I remember when it first happened, and like they got rid of all the rules on Twitter, and it was like a night and day difference. And even now, it's like it's crazy to go back and imagine what Twitter was like before Elon Musk. It was just so much different. If endorsements mattered, Hollywood would have gotten Kamala elected. Yeah. I think it really has to do with the people themselves. More than anything else, right? Obviously, the endorsement helped.
Active one, and I'm not even talking about his checkbook. It's rare if you have a surrogate that has a lot of fanboys and is very compelling to a lot of the demographic that we are losing in our party and in Pennsylvania.
Well, the reason why a lot of young men don't vote for Democrats is because Democrats actively demonize and work against young men's best interests. When Democrats put out things where, like this is an advantage or some sort of thing that is for women or people that are, like not their race or anything like that, why would a guy vote for someone who is actively looking to disadvantage him? Why vote for someone who hates you? Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like I would never do that. Not in a million years. Yeah, the future is female, anything like that. Yeah, of course not. Or would a poor young guy vote for you? Yeah, 100%. Kamala's for they/them. Trump is for us. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Because, like, again, they're not being represented. And more so than they're not being represented, they're being actively disenfranchised and demonized. And I think that's the reason why.
Do you think he would have won without Elon Musk?
I think so.
I'm not sure if we would have lost Bob Casey, but I do think Trump, it would have been closer. I really believe that it mattered. We lost Bob Casey for 15,000 votes. And I'm sure he did move the needle. It's undeniable.
How would you grade the Trump transition?
Also, I'm sick of identity politics. I think a lot of people are not sick of identity politics. People are sick of one-sided identity politics that are disingenuous. And they're sick of losing the identity politics war because of fear of optics. I think that's really the truth. And I think that, for example, like mass deportations is like a really good, like benchmark to see that.
Oh, I mean, it's not really a grade, but I'm saying this as a Democrat. It's like I clearly, after he announced Gates, and I'm like, that's just, I described that. That's God tier trolling. I mean, that was never serious. And anyone here in Congress knows that he's despised by Republicans too. So that also set the stage, and here's what's coming. And now I have met with all of them so far, and the ones that we haven't.
His nominees.
They're on the schedule back in January.
You met with Pete Hegseth.
I did, yeah.
You think he's qualified to be defense secretary?
Well, I think we're going to learn more. And that hearing, and there's going to be an FBI background.
I think the idea that, like, you're not qualified to be defense secretary because you're on Fox is kind of ridiculous. I feel like you can have somebody like Dick Cheney, who was the vice president, and like he would be very qualified. But do you really want him to be the one that's in charge? I don't think so. Yeah, he was in the military. Yeah, well, he was a veteran. He like went to like I think it was like Princeton or something like that. Like, yeah, he wasn't some random guy.
And that, but my commitment, and I think I'm doing the job, is I'm going to sit down and have a conversation. And the president picked these people. Not going to be my first choice, second choice, third choice, but that's democracy. And to me, it would be distressing if he is confirmed, if the Democrats are going to turn our back collectively to the leader of.
They will. I think that a lot of them will, and they will intentionally sabotage things in order to make Trump look worse. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. For sure.
Defense. I mean, that's astonishing and that's dangerous.
So you see yourself inclined to be open to supporting these controversial nominees. You might not support them all, but you see yourself...
Potentially.
Yeah.
But there is going to be some that I will vote yes. And there's some maybe that I'll vote no. But nobody can accuse me of just saying I had a closed mind, or I just said no because Trump picked this person, or whatever.
I saw you, Elise Stefanik, you have said you're going to vote for her. I saw you with her thumbs up.
Yeah, well, and Rubio, for me, it's like, you know, Rubio, for me, it's like he's in the other party, obviously. But, you know, there's a lot of, you know, the Venn is closer. There's a lot of overlap. Yeah. And now if I was, as a Democrat, looking to assemble a bipartisan cabinet, you know, he'd be a solid choice, you know, from a Democrat.
You met with Kash Patel, I believe, right?
Yesterday, well, yes.
It's great to have somebody like this that seems to be a normal person, because I feel like his viewpoint on it, like the Fetterman viewpoint on it, is what I would say. It's hard to say like most people think, but I think that there is a huge amount of people that are like unspoken for that have his viewpoint on it, where it's like, yeah, this isn't the outcome maybe I wanted, or I don't really like this all that much, but, you know, we're going to finally start, you know, like trying to move forward. Yeah, it's unfiltered. It's a majority viewpoint. I think that that's what a lot of people have. And it's hard to express that viewpoint online because people become so ideologically captured to like extreme politics. His stroke recovery is amazing. Listen to him talk in 2020. Yeah, of course, right? He's trying to actually do his job. Yeah, imagine that.
Going after Trump's enemies.
Yeah, and we've had conversations, but we had, you know, all of these interviews were all off the record, and those things. So I'm not going to go into detail, but he absolutely that's never going to happen. You know, like he was very.
Bro, you cannot be saying shit like this. You can't, guys, come on. You can't be doing this. Like, this is too much. It's way too much. Jesus.
He's not going to use the FBI to go after Trump's enemies.
Like, I know that's not it. Or
did you believe him?
Taken.
I mean, he's written a lot.
Like that's what he claims.
Yeah.
And I found out, you know, his family's origin story and immigration, and we talked about that. And my family immigration and things. And so I learned things about him. I never knew that he was a public defender.
So did you come across liking Kash Patel more than you thought you would? Thinking you could support him?
It's. I mean, how much you can absorb in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I have learned things, and I have heard things, and I have no regrets for having these. I never left any of those interviews saying, "Wow, that was a waste of time," or "I regret that."
Have you talked to Trump since the election?
I have not. I have not. No.
So I assume he's going to call you at some point. What is your message to him after he sees this?
What would I say to him? I'd be like, well, hey, congratulations, and have an honest conversations of things I would like to, we could work together, and some things we're going to disagree. I'd like to avoid the cheap heat and some of the other stuff, but it's going to be a kooky ride, I'm sure. And I try to be a committed, steady voice for Pennsylvania, and to remember that we have to find as many wins in the middle of an incredibly divisive times.
Yeah. Yeah, this is why he won. Holy shit. That's all you have to say. Yes, very level-headed
our thanks
answer.
To Senator Fetterman.
Yes, exactly. Thank fucking God there's somebody that's not trying to, sabotage things to make themselves look good or whatever. Perfect answer. Yeah, It's totally, why is the guy who had a stroke making the most sense? I thought Fetterman was mentally broken when he first got elected. I'm ashamed to say that I thought he was an idiot. Yeah, I did too. And to be fair, with that debate that he did with Dr. Oz, he did look like a fucking idiot. But it seems like he's, he's leveled up since then, and, he's doing a lot better after his stroke. Yeah, let's be honest. And country first, not party first. Yeah, exactly. And there you go. Start how marvelous this man trying to be. Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like it's so refreshing that a lot of people are finally seeing this and not what do you call it? Like not just immediately freaking out and like acting like, okay, well, this is just what's going to happen. Who knew a stroke would help? I guess so. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Trump effect of healing the mentally ill. He had a good chat with Joe Rogan too. Yeah, I've as I said, I've always liked like John Fetterman. Like, again, I don't agree with everything he says. I'm sure there's tons of things that I think he's wrong about. But in a general sense, I do think he's a legit guy, right? At the end of the day, he's a legit guy.